1871 to 1877, the Canadian government negotiated treaties 1 to 7, allowing them to build the railway on the north of the US-Canada border, pushing the Blackfoot and Cree to live in the Northwest Territories. Government negotiators' promise included special rights to treaty lands and the distribution of cash payments, hunting and fishing tools, and farming supplies. But they never held up their end of the bargain. If we can't import the scenery, we'll import the tourists. The CPR is also harmful to animals in the environment. For example, these antelopes who have the inability to jump over the rails and only run straight. There was a time in this fair land when the railroad did not run, when the wild, majestic mountains stood alone against the sun, long before the white man and long before the wheel, when the green dark forests were too silent to be real. The CPR also creates noise pollution and air pollution. The original route for the CPR was supposed to go to Port Moody, where there is a lot of resources, like trees, but instead Van Horne decided to put it to Vancouver, where it was just flat plains. Van Horne provided job opportunities. White workers were paid $1.50 to $2.50 per day with their provisions provided, while Chinese workers were paid only $1 per day and had to pay for their own provisions. They worked in dangerous conditions. At least 600 died working on the railway. Van Horne provided job opportunities to Chinese immigrants who need the job and money to send back home. Chinese railroad workers were not credited in the last spike photo. Chinese workers did the dangerous jobs Caucasian workers did not want to do. This land is far harsher and demands more strength than I have. I have the spirit of being able to save so little these days, but the small garden Chen left in my care has been helping my food supply. How good the fresh vegetables taste. From 1881 to 1891, the population jumped from about 2,500 residents to over 21,000. It attracted businesses and banks, eventually overtaking Victoria as the industrial and commercial center of the province. This is a land of speculation in mining properties, lumberlands, fruitlands, and, above all, in city lots, the price of which has doubled in the last 2 years. Port Moody was originally supposed to be the terminus station. Because the CPR didn't end there, the population stayed at around 1,000 residents for about nearly 2 decades. There was too little flat land for roundhouses and rail yards. Besides, Port Moody had little potential to become a great seaport. It lay far up Burrard Inlet, beyond the Saki Narrows, a treacherous stretch of water where currents exceeding 6 knots sped through a narrow fairway. After the CPR was built, there was a battle at Cut Knife Hill in 1885, with the Northwest Mounted Police and militia against Louis Riel, the Métis, and Big Bear's warriors over the land. Mortality rates for bands deemed rebellious for the 2 years after 1885 are striking. Marine Lux estimated that the Cree at Thunderchild incurred a mortality rate of 233.5 per 1,000 people, and at Sweetgrass, 185 per 1,000. Deaths in the Battleford Agency exceeded births by a ratio of 4 to 1. So many died among the Sharphead Stony group in central Alberta that they ceased to exist as a distinct population. At first, the British tried to buy the land by paying the Hudson's Bay Company £300 for the indigenous land. We want none of the Queen's presents. William Van Horne built hotels along the CPR for passengers to stay in, which cut costs for food.
à l'intérieur comme dans sa structure extérieure, deviendra familier aux Montréalais et il sera un point d'intérêt.
He also built the Canadian Pacific Steamship Company, where sailing vessels chartered by the CPR began to arrive from Japan, bringing tea, silk, and curios. The company had secured a contract from the British government to carry the imperial mail in freight, while offering luxury travel from Hong Kong to Britain via Canada using 3 British ships.